Afterwards, when Soro was about to leave, he reminded me about Lisa. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of World End Economica. It's been a while since I played it last. I recorded a bunch of episodes in one go last time. But I think it's time to get back into a story. I had no intention of blaming Lisa for this. Same with Hagana. I was why, in case Lisa was waiting outside for us to finish talking and came home with an instant look at her face, Hagana and I wouldn't say anything in particular. The cash Toyama had bought was still here, so what happened here was obvious. But while we ate dinner, well, as we always did, I would report that we'd lost at the investment contest. Lisa would smile and say, "That's too bad." I would take out the 50,000 malls in prize money, and after reporting that a debt had been paid, she would look a bit uncomfortable but smile and say, "Thank you." Hagana and I did not discuss this at all. What needed to be done and how was completely decided. In that case, all that was left to do was to do it. To keep going until things went right. But for me, there was also a situation with Barton. Hidden from Hagana, I stealthily looked over my mail upon Barton and my eyes darted over the contents. There were comforting words of congratulations on second place finish. Moreover, there were words praising me rather an impressive judgment in each successive trade regardless of the result. After that, there were words confirming what we'd discussed before. I hesitated for a brief moment before I wrote a response in one stroke. I certainly want to take you up on that offer, but I'd like just a bit more time. Barton's reply came swiftly. Was there a problem? A reporter was a problem I had to resolve at all costs. His response was received about 2 minutes later. In proportion to the time, it was perhaps the shortest response so far. More than happy to assist at any time. Thank you very much, I responded, with sincerity, to those words. From the next day, it was second coming of investment contest, but the stakes were different. On top of that, this time around, things were more complex, and the program would have to be used in the actual marketplace, where it hadn't been yet tested. Mistakes wouldn't be forgiven. Indecision also wouldn't be forgiven. A 50% profit in a week was an insane level of performance. If leverage of margin trading was utilised, the hurdle would be reduced to 17%, but I didn't want to go through with a 3 times mental strain. The amount of capital was also something that wouldn't be disregarded. Will this work out? She asked in a genuine manner. There's no other choice. Besides, while opening up a margin trading screen, I spoke. We've got leverage here too. Huh? Well, you are here, aren't you? I forced out a laugh and Hagana pouted and turned away. Despite having no expression, her face was red and her lips showed displeasure. Hagana and I immersed ourselves in trading. Lisa went about her usual business and supported us in a variety of ways. However, she did say at least we should sleep separately. It seemed she'd caught on. While Hagana did respond tentatively, in the end, working in my room, she fell asleep at her desk from fatigue, and I ended up carrying her to her bed. She did open her eyes at one point when I picked her up, but she relaxed and did nothing. While I thought I was just telling her to move herself, that self-indulgence was way too cute and I couldn't get myself to say it. Along with the expression in her eyes, she was like a pedigreed cat off its guard. She and I did the best that we could. After hearing about our exploits, the people who were burdened by debt would come by with all sorts of provisions. Even Chris's father volunteered to be a night watchman, figuring that those moneymongers might try to do something while we slept. Day by day, we piled up those profits. Real trading was ruthlessly complex. Due to spending so much time with investment contest, the program's accuracy was exceptionally off. Even then, Hagana updated it in real time and Soro acted as a backup. I was able to go all out and chase after that alpha. Separately, they were very weak, but take 0.1 each time, piled up 1,000 times, it became 100%. The satellite probe set heading into outer space, its propulsion came from a spewing of small ions. For people who dealt with the hardships and tribulations of the rest of society, the alchemists of the lunar surface were siphoning money away from their precious assets, almost like some sort of Robin Hood. With the size of the funds had tripled for leverage, and with Hagana's support, we rushed to the battlefield. Extracting profits or support back losses. Cutting down your foe would lead to yourself being cut down. As we were burdened with something amazing while fighting, people trading on the other side of the screen fought with real money of their own as well. I wondered whether wishing for Owen's success was like wishing for a failure with another me and another Hagana on the other side of the screen. That wasn't some complete delusion, it was plenty plausible. But we had to go through with this. We had to continue desperately, but reality was lumbering and slow. It was the 5th day since we started trading, Saturday evening. Monday was a day Tayama needed to pay back the loan. With Sunday in between, there was only 1 day left. Total assets, 720,000. Only a 10% increase. On top of that, I was putting all my available funds in use. Due to continued trading after investment contest, when trading was done, we really were literally out of breath. My body was at its limit. Higana did not mention it to me, but once in a while she'd go to a toilet to throw up, when her physical condition got particularly bad. There's still 1 more day left. Even though I didn't say anything, Higana said it. There was one way to say that the situation was painful. And Lisa is? Hearing that, Higana shook her head. She spent the day with me immersed in trading. There was no way of knowing. Speaking of which, up until recently, Higana would ask me about Lisa while I was immersed in trading. At that time I'd say I didn't know, Higana would have a distinctly displeasing expression on her face, as if calling me useless trash. Looking back, I could see that I'd come a long way. It occurred to me that I'd spent a long time here. Going to a toilet. Just said that and stood up. She headed to the toilet unsteadily, so perhaps she needed to throw up again. Myself, I still had the runs, so I couldn't always keep food down. But at least I had a worried expression on her face, seeming like this. She didn't say anything. Even if she'd said anything, we definitely had no intention of stopping, and she had no choice of letting us continue. Thus, Lisa started to pray often in the church. In the middle of the night, when I headed to the toilet, I would realise there was someone in the church. When I looked, it was usually Lisa. She was praying fervently to a crucified, bearded guy. Perhaps this endeavour was a pointless struggle in the end. Was this where the strong became stronger? In Newton City's central station, I saw the statue of E.J. Rockberg, the founder of a leading bank on the moon. He was also called a fool for throwing himself into investing, and the result of his unbelievable effort was the elevation of his status to what it is currently. Will such a good fortune not pay us a visit? I wondered what was going on and became assailed by all these pessimistic thoughts. I thought it was impossible as we proceeded, but it really was impossible. I didn't want to listen to such obvious conclusion. Just 80,000 moors more? No, what I desired was 100,000 moors. If living expenses and various other things weren't taken care of, but townspeople won't be able to pay off their debts and will fall victim to the moneymongers, who are licking their lips in anticipation. On the last day, will we be able to gain enough in profits? Short of a miracle, it was impossible. A miracle. A miracle. At that moment, I became aware of a fragment of that miracle. How? I've been thinking. She said that as she came back from the toilet. When she came back from the toilet, her mouth looked a bit wet, and as she washed her face, I knew right away something was up. I think we have no choice but narrow it down to one stock and risk it all. There's not enough time. She went over everything that had happened up until now. Naturally, that failed during the investment contest. On top of that, this time the marketplace was unlike the investment contest, where the guidelines and rules were clear. There are no obvious clues how to go by, and with a current framework, we had to nail a 10% profit from out of nowhere. If that was possible, we should have been able to do it from the beginning. On top of that, said gamble did not work during the investment contest, thus Agana's words weren't very inspired. But instead of responding to her words, I simply said this. I'm going to head out for a bit. Huh? How? Where? It might just work out. I didn't answer as I stood up. With computer in hand, I faced my room. Higana wanted to follow me, but her body was already at its limit, and she stayed seated, unable to get up quickly enough. Just say something to Lisa for me if you don't mind. I said that from the hallway as I turned up from my room with a computer tucked under my arm. How? I heard Higana's voice, but I ignored it as I ran up the stairs to the second floor, then heading towards the third floor and outside. Outside, twilight was falling. The real action was about to happen in Newton City. I opened the computer and sent off a mail to Barton. Can you meet up? Immediately a response came. Certainly I can. Let's meet at Royal Central Hotel. I closed the computer and tossed in my bag. And then, mustering what little strength I had, I ran at full tilt through a night-filled town. I ran through a dazzling nightscape of Newton City. From their perspective, redeveloping poor district probably meant nothing to them. 80,000 to 100,000 moors? That's something you can deal with. If your fortune shall be ruined by losing that much, you didn't belong on the moon in the first place. That's what I thought in the beginning. But living in Lisa's church and trading alongside Hagana, there was something I came to understand. The connections between others won't change because of the money. In the case of lying on Lisa's lap, if I could have had that for 50,000 moors, I might have paid. If that were the case, what about the night where Hagana listened to me talk about my dream while I held her hand under the covers? How much was that worth? Once Hagana could only see me as trash, showing no hope of much anything in her facial expression. Now she's come to show me a smile. How much was that? Now and then, thinking about Hagana, I imagined that it was the same for the people in the town and their families. Chris and her father were the same. When we ended, I hadn't seen Chris's mother even once. I'd imagine her to be an ordinary one-episode story I didn't care to hear about. I ran through Newton City. I ran through the moon's richest area, being pulled along by a thread of fortune. One big trade is pulled along by a different trade, which then takes the form of big profits. That was the last thing I aimed at in an investment contest. If that manifests in the marketplace, but naturally it should happen in reality too. All of it was how people carried out their lives, how people were influenced. So all the good fortune I'd encountered was being pulled up by a different bit of luck that I believed as I headed towards it. Royal Central Hotel, a super high-level hotel that cost at least 1,000 moors a night. From limousines and front entrance, important government figures of the wealthy and their bodyguards streamed through, probably since it was a weekend. This was the third time I'd come here. I wasn't even nervous and the doorman recognised me. He flashed a friendly smile towards me and opened the door. Without straying, I headed towards a cafe. The people who recognised me smiled as they led me there. Barton had his interest in me. He had his interest in my abilities. If so, then something should be possible. Be firm in readiness, do not waver. Soon, I stood before Barton. As usual, he sat comfortably in a chair, and today he was reading an old-fashioned book. I apologise for a short notice. Don't worry, it just so happened my schedule was free. Barton spoke as he placed a bookmark in the book and looked at me. Barton's expression was firm as he looked at me, which was probably how it always was each time. You look frightened. I have a favour to ask. He offered me a chair, but I remained standing as I spoke. I would like you to invest in me. Invest? He repeated that as he once again opened the chair. Well, first take a seat. As you are right now, this isn't a negotiation, but an entreaty. He grinned broadly as he offered me a chair for a third time. I sat down, and Barton rang a bell. A waiter came out. Would you like some Irish coffee? As I started to say cafe, I corrected myself. Hot cocoa. These last few days I would drink it alongside Hagana. As you wish. Not bothering with something as elegant as writing it down, he bowed once and stepped away. Barton sighed deeply and leaned back in his chair. A small amount of silence fell. I spoke. I would like you to invest in me. He said that as he looked at me. Compared to the first time I saw him, his facial expression was intense. Invest in you? Is that what you said, is it not? If that was the case, I'd rather than as a headhunter, Barton Cladweisen. I would have to look at it from the perspective of Barton Cladweisen, representative of Britannica. It almost felt as if Barton's body swelled in size. It was the overpowering feeling given up by an influential person. I felt as if I had been blown away and didn't plant my feet firmly. Will you be able to turn a profit for me? A greedy loan shark taking away the last more from a poor man. Something like that would have been no match for Barton's intensity. With large sums of money invested, it was an overwhelming ambition that only those who earned great deals of money could dare to have. When you're really wealthy, people bow their heads to you unconditionally. I gritted my teeth and then spoke. Permission to speak? Of course. I took a deep breath. Then I spoke. I would like to borrow 300,000 moors. He raised an eyebrow at this. 300,000 moors? Well, that is... He started to say, but short lightly. Excuse me, well, that is a surprising amount of money. Must be a joke. pressed on. The annual interest rate is 20%. I'm expected maturation date. If you're able to wait 10 years, then I will return it to you by then. If the annual rate is 20% after 10 years, multiply 5 times and become 900,000 more. But if it were on the Earth, then a scatterbug of white-collar workers would earn about that much over their lifetimes. Does Britannica consider such earnings to be on the low end of the scale? In my words, Barton's mouth curled very slightly into a statement smile. Not bad. As Barton laughed, a drink survived. The cocoa is his. He gestured towards me politely, and hot cocoa was placed before me. Please enjoy. Ah. He raised his hand. The waiter stood back. He reached into his coat, poured out a small bottle of alcohol from his breast pocket, and poured the contents into his coffee cup. At times like these, you need alcohol from a bit more of a kick. He said it in a mischievous manner. After pouring his half of the bottle's contents, Barton looked at the cup and then spoke. After 10 years, you'll make 900,000 more and become an impressive manager in Britannica then. Or possibly independently. I stuck to my guns for the sake of doing so, but as much as I stuck to my guns, Barton's actions became sluggish. Well, in asking you to join me, a lesser individual suggesting 900,000 more would be rather shocking and perhaps hard to imagine. In that case, why 300,000 more? I doubt you're going to use it to buy licorice or something. This wasn't small change. To Barton it was meaningless sum of money, but it wasn't small change. I read it myself and spoke. Without money, a lot of people can be saved. Ha! He breathed and laughed. His large frame shook all over as he laughed. For people of Schrödinger Street, this is what you call an act of mercy. Of course he would laugh. However, gratitude you get could be sold later for much more. In my words, Barton's laughter stopped immediately. Oh? For various reasons right now, I'm in possession of gathered funds from a lot of people. These people borrowed money from someone else, for these funds are all they have for the sake of paying off those debts. But it isn't enough to pay it off, so the intention is to gather funds to further grow that amount. Very wise. He said that in an almost ridiculing manner. Also, a lender these people received money from and had borrowed from somebody else. And the origin of that were a number of land speculators. Barton's face became serious. And then, apparently, all the place we live has become a target for a redevelopment project. The borrowers built their own homes and live there holding the right to land. That is why, when this redevelopment project goes underway, they want to hold out until the government reimburses them with properties will become very valuable. When the collectors come, they will take everything, leaving nothing. Thus, the 300,000 more wish to borrow. An investment, right? He corrected me. There was a kindness to it. He looked at me quietly. After redevelopment, that 300,000 more investment will change over and become a debt of gratitude from many people who hold the land rights. And that will be greater than the annual rate of 20%, you say? Correct. In my words, Barton let out a slight groan. So that's what you mean. What do you think? I asked once more. I got a response. Barton is not the sort who wouldn't understand this. In terms of gain and loss, without a doubt these would be gains. Barton slipped out the Irish coffee he had spiked, and for a bit he held it into his lips and drank it down. Words that came out were not what I would expect after drinking hot coffee. They were as cold as ice. I must decline. I was dumbfounded, and for a number of seconds I couldn't respond to it. Why not? At my outburst, Barton frowned and put down the cup. It's a problem in how one lives, he said. Perhaps he was saying that it would just be the best to let people in trouble ruin themselves instead. I don't want you to misunderstand me. If I could, I would try to offer you assistance. In that case? But I'm Barton Colonize of Britannica. The invested funds I've handled in a number of several tens of billions of more. It's not money on a global scale, but it's a fair amount. And thus the pressure is high. On top of that, performance is expected. I don't know who he's talking about, but Barton has zeal, which couldn't keep me silent. I must be a thorough investor. If that's not the case, I cannot serve in this capacity. Thus, it is a problem in how one lives. But what you intend to do? You must appear noble and right in your mind. Your report card would have a positive mark on it, however. He seemed to be lamenting the unreasonable principles of society as he said that. This is the kind of work a drab bank I had no words to counter with. Barton paid little heed to my exposed, dumbfounded expression, as he quietly looked for a cup in his hands and continued. I won't say that it's a bad line of work. I don't think that is a waste of time either. However, in doing something tepid like that, in just an instant it will come falling down. The place I am in is like that. Think about it. How much you imagine it costs for all of us to live on the moon? It pales in comparison to the developed nations on Earth. Plus, I must decline. It's not an investment for me. It's not an investment for me at all. He said it succinctly. I've heard it before when one goes about investing in a large sum of money, they shouldn't let emotions control them. With steely resolve and ironclad balls, even if the universe were here to implode, the investment performance must always hold steady. Barton was the incarnation of all of that. Besides, if you aim to a trading street, you should have that kind of volition. Investor must consider the best possible investments and the best possible conditions, the best possible interval at all times. These are the words of the sole person I hold respect, Mr. Infallible. He was a beast with a personal assets of 80 billion moles. Compared to him, I felt small enough to be crushed by him. So if you think you can save these people, then take him as challenge as an investor. Time. There isn't enough time. I looked at this steam of cocoa. As I said that, there was only 1 day left. Only 1 day left. I have 720,000 moles at funds. At the end of Monday, I need to reach 1 million moles at all costs. At very least, I'll be fine with 900,000. But it's not possible, even if I desperately stack on as much profit as possible. 10% of a ceiling, so... I raised my face and looked at Barton. I did not want to admit my vision was blurred because I had been crying. So? Yet Barton's tone was icy cold. Investor. A successful investor. He's a pro amongst pros. An obvious concept such as helping someone in trouble, leaving them indebted to you, was not something he would agree with. I hung my head in shame, having nothing left to say. It was impossible. I was naive to think otherwise. Impossible. Is that so? That's what Barton said. Desperately stacked on profits, only 10%? Come now, since when did you allow yourself to that of a quant stooge? I raised my head, so that Barton's angered face was scowling at me. I saw the last decision you made during investment contest. It was rather impressive. That was it. I was the evidence of a trader. With each move, one by one, you think became clear. It gave me shivers recalling my younger days. A failure is certainly a failure, but there are bets that one should continue to make. And that's it. Brought back memories of times I've been beaten by my father as he lectured me. It really was mysterious as to why I remember him now at all times. Besides, we don't have enough time and you just need to find a shortcut. Huh? Barton then sipped his coffee. The times I took you around and explained to you my investment techniques. Do you remember them? I dug deep into the crevices of my mind, having confidence to memorise it all. Yes. In that case, that's right. The building went to see. Do you remember the name of the company in that building? I don't know why he asked me that question, but I answered immediately. Ringtech. Huh? Then he suddenly raised his voice hysterically. Whoa now, are you alright? Huh? Eh? Ringtech is a fine company, but the company we saw was a different one. Was it not? But what was it? I can't quite remember. Wait a moment. As he said that, he rummaged through his coat and pulled out a small terminal. He tapped on the screen and started it up. Oh yes, this is it. Here it is. Here. Placed a small terminal on top of a table. There it displayed electronic data of that company. Come on, hang in there. I bought you a high price after all. He looked at me as the peak of a terminal and smirked as he laughed. Huh, but... Well then, the smell of alcohol has got me hungry. He sat on his shoulder and saying that on purpose, he stood up. I looked back and forth a number of times between Barton and his electric terminal. And finally the connection bridged inside my head. This was investment news. Speaking of which, when's the next time it'll rain here? There's usually something but bad news. Depressing stuff. I'm not looking forward to Monday. With his large chest sticking out, he muttered to himself. The excitement was enough to make my hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Insider information. This is insider information. Many days put me in a down of a mood. Not a pleasant thing, right? Barton winked at me. He acted so silly out of a character. If I were a girl, I'd fall for him. Well now, how about some food? I know a place that has some great fish. I stood up and lowered my head. Sorry, today isn't going to work. Right, shame. We can meet any time, can't we? Right, oh, it's already this late. I better make a phone call. He smirked and laughed. Without saying a word of thanks, I lowered my head once more. I'll mail you again. I'll be waiting. It'll wait on Monday. Do keep that in mind. Yes. I responded and began to run before I turned back. I need to pay for a cocoa. Well now, you're going to embarrass me about. Sorry. Minor details, don't worry about it. They were aloof words. I ran through the elegant interior of a cafe. Many of the gentlemen and ladies wondered what was going on as they watched me go, but I paid no heed to those eyes. If nothing else, because my teacher stood at the top of the table of the VIP seat, shouted out, Godspeed, young one! Grasp the future with your own hands! For a moon's witch to say something like that to a damn brat in shabby clothing, it was a valuable thing. My chest was bursting with happiness, so I continued to run. I ignored the eyes of the onlookers as I ran. Even inside the confines of a crowded train, I wanted to run. I ran non-stop from the station to a church and barreled through the sanctuary of a church straight into the living room. And then I spoke. I will show you my investing technique. Seeming like that, Hagarda's eyes became round as she looked at me blankly. Wow. Hope. Hope springs eternal. And hope's what we have now, because he's going to show us investment technique. Well, he's going to show us next time, actually, so thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Join me then for his investment technique. Bye-bye.